Everybody saw the score. But that's not the real story. Because when Brazil and Morocco walked off the field with a 1-1 draw, the scoreboard hid something important. One team arrived expecting to control the game. The other arrived believing they could shock the world. And for long stretches of this match, it wasn't Brazil that looked in charge. It was Morocco. So, how did a team many expected to defend survive against one of football's giants? And why did Brazil spend much of the night chasing the game? Let's break it down. Match in 30 seconds. Morocco struck first. In the 21st minute, Brahim Diaz collected the ball in midfield and threaded a pass through Brazil's defense. Ismael Saibari raced onto it. Alisson came out. Saibari stayed calm. And with a delicate finish over the goalkeeper, Morocco had the lead. Suddenly, Brazil were behind. But only 11 minutes later, Vinicius Junior produced a moment of quality. The Brazilian winger found space and fired home the equalizer. 1 goal each. 1 point each. But the game itself told a much deeper story. Biggest turning point. The biggest turning point wasn't a goal. It was halftime. During the first half, Morocco looked comfortable. They pressed aggressively. They moved the ball confidently. And they repeatedly found ways through Brazil's midfield. Brazil looked unsettled. The rhythm wasn't there. The connections weren't there. Even their defensive structure looked vulnerable. Carlo Ancelotti clearly saw the problem. At halftime, he removed both Casemiro and Roger Ibanez after the pair had been booked. Those changes immediately altered the flow of the match. Brazil became more stable, more organized, more difficult to attack. Morocco no longer found the same spaces they enjoyed earlier. The game shifted from Morocco controlling the tempo to Brazil finally finding some balance. Winning strategy. Morocco didn't win the match, but their strategy absolutely worked. From the opening whistle, they targeted Brazil's weaknesses. Instead of sitting deep and waiting, they pressed. They attacked quickly whenever they won possession. And they used Brahim Diaz as a creative link between midfield and attack. The opening goal was the perfect example. One moment of pressure, one forward pass, one intelligent run, and suddenly Brazil's back line was exposed. Morocco's plan was clear. Stay compact, break quickly, punish mistakes. And for large portions of the game, it worked exactly as intended. Losing team's problem. Brazil's biggest problem wasn't finishing. It was control. The midfield never looked comfortable during the opening stages. Morocco frequently disrupted Brazil's build-up. Passes became rushed. Attacks became predictable. And too much responsibility fell on individual talent. When Brazil needed inspiration, it came from Vinicius Junior. Not from a flowing team move. Not from sustained pressure. Just one brilliant individual moment. That was enough to rescue a point. But it also highlighted a concern. Brazil often looked dependent on moments rather than dominance. And against stronger opponents later in the tournament, that could become a serious issue. Tactical battle explained. This match felt like two different games. The first game belonged to Morocco. They pressed high, won midfield battles, and forced Brazil into uncomfortable positions. The second game began after halftime. Brazil's adjustments helped them regain control. Morocco became more cautious. The spaces became smaller. The tempo slowed. And chances became harder to create. Brazil pushed forward searching for a winner. Morocco defended with discipline. Neither side found the breakthrough. The result was a tactical stalemate, but one that revealed plenty about both teams. Morocco proved they can compete with elite opposition. Brazil showed they can respond when things go wrong. Key player impact. Vinicius Junior will grab the headlines. And understandably so. His equalizer rescued Brazil from defeat. Without that goal, the conversation around Brazil today would be very different. But Morocco also had standout performers. Ismael Saibari delivered the opening goal. Brahim Diaz created it with a superb pass. And goalkeeper Yassine Bounou produced important saves that helped protect the draw. Those moments mattered. Because against a team with Brazil's attacking talent, one mistake can change everything. Morocco simply refused to make that mistake. What this means going forward. For Morocco, this result feels like confirmation. Their run to the World Cup semifinals 4 years ago was not a fluke. They showed organization, confidence, and the ability to compete with one of football's biggest nations. For Brazil, the draw raises questions. There's still enormous talent in this squad, but the opening match exposed areas that need improvement, especially in midfield control and defensive organization. The good news? It's only the first game. The bad news? The rest of Group C just saw that Brazil can be challenged, and maybe even beaten, which means this group is now completely open. So let's go back to where we started. Everybody saw the score, but that's not the real story. The real story is that Morocco made Brazil react. And for much of the night, one of football's giants was forced to play on someone else's terms. One sentence sums it up perfectly. Morocco controlled the game early, Brazil survived through Vinicius Junior's brilliance, and neither side could find the final breakthrough. What did you think was the biggest moment?